Hi. I didn't see you there. This is not what it looks like. I swear. Look over there. Fan service has been a staple in anime and general media for many years. The term fan service actually originated in Japanese manga and anime communities, and it has been really interesting to see how it's progressed through the years. From Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi during her time with Jabba, to things as recently as Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, fan service comes in all shapes, sizes, and types. There's the long drawn out fight scenes in shonen anime, magical girl transformation scenes, or full scale scenes of mechs if you're into the Gundam genre. Fan service can even be used in relation to food scenes as well, for instance, Delicious in Dungeon or Campfire Cooking in Another World. You even have shows with a combination of those things if you want to look at something like Food Wars, for an example. Honestly, it's quite obvious that there's an audience for anything and everything, however, we're going to save that for another deep dive video. But basically, fan service is adding additional scenes to a show purely for the audience's entertainment, rather than adding any actual substance to the show, story, narrative, and can be an overused but sometimes tasteful addition to shows. It's one of those things you only notice if it's bad, for with most things, if it's good, you don't even know it's there. So it will always have its place in the pantheon of anime. And what I'm about to get into is probably top tier in that anime pantheon of fan service. Okay, so hear me out. You've got this friend, right? And they've been watching anime for a little while now, but they haven't really stepped out into the weirder side of things. I really still consider them to be a fledgling of anime, you know? Demon Slayer, Sword Art Online, My Hero. Maybe they've stepped out into the wotakoi or caught the A Sign of Affection hype train. But so far, they haven't seen the weird side of anime. And one day, you listen to that little devil chilling on your shoulder with that nagging feeling for a want to corrupt them. You know, that ever-present urge that every single One Piece fan has to tell anyone who looks in their general direction, hell, who am I kidding, anyone who breathes, that Ichiro Oda is creating the greatest masterpiece on planet Earth, and you should totally sell your soul for the cost of 9,999 episodes. Or perhaps you're just like us, and you've been watching anime since the internet was the Wild West, and you've seen some interesting things. Well, do I have the perfect anime for you? Keijo. Take it from me, the first time I hopped into one of Brad's stream chats, I tried to corrupt the whole chat into watching this anime. Keijo is an anime about a women's-only gambling sport, where buxom women attempt to knock each other off of various platforms and obstacle courses, and into water, competitively. Now, I know what you're thinking. Surely this is some wholesome, family-friendly show, where you get to see some incredible high-flying pro wrestling action, while wearing some incredibly flashy, totally robust, not at all revealing clothing, right? Well, wrong. These ladies are only allowed to use their boobs and their butts while they wear nothing but swimsuits in battle. But Blue, that sounds totally ridiculous. What's even the point of watching something like that? How dare you try to corrupt our minds? Well, I can certainly think of several. But yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. College girls entering the world of pro athletes in the most nonsensical way possible. But you can believe me, it's very entertaining. Keijo is based off of a manga of the same name, written by Sorayomi Daichi. That ran from summer of 2013 to spring of 2017 for a total of 18 volumes, which coincidentally is how old you should be to watch this show, despite the PG-13 rating. The anime adaptation was launched in autumn of 2016 by Studio Zebek, and then further licensed by Funimation. It had a total of 13 episodes and 6 specials, though admittedly I haven't watched the specials, so proceed with caution. The story follows Nozomi Kamanashi as she attempts to make her way up the ranks in her first season in this highly competitive sport. As a former gymnast, Nozomi thought she'd have a leg up on the competition, but quickly learns that it won't be as simple as she thought. We follow her and her fellow athletes as they go through training arcs, battle insane competitors, and even come up with their own signature moves. Yes, you heard that right, signature moves. Remember that thing earlier when I was talking about pro wrestling? Yeah, I lied. This is basically pro wrestling, on steroids. Well, more steroids. Now with all of that lead up, I'm sure you have some questions, like, is this anime a sexually charged fever dream? Yes, absolutely. Is it also surprisingly competitive and sucks you into a made-up sport? Definitely. Does the show also have some surprisingly great sakuga and fight scenes that draw you in like the strings of our contestants' swimwear? Sorry, I got lost in the butt for a second. But plot. I totally said plot. But yes it does. Furthermore, the show is surprisingly funny. A question I find myself asking with shows like these is, would it work in the reverse? Because we've seen examples where we've been presented with stories that have just made us feel really uncomfortable, because society would never support the projects if the genders were switched. But in this case, the answer is undeniably yes. I'd watch hours of men competing in the same way, trying to knock each other off of platforms using their butts and, third arms? YouTube censorship is killing me here. The thing is, it would have to be just as funny and be aware that the whole show is a complete joke, while also having strong characters, a story that grips you, and solid animation. Keijo has that in spades, along with plenty of other assets that it can use to its advantage to bring in an audience. I believe it could even be argued that this show is commenting directly on the over-sexualization of anime characters and making fun of it with hyperbole. In fact, the show only works as well as it does because it doesn't take itself seriously in the slightest way. It's a dumb show to watch and make fun of, and is conscious of that fact. That being said, while the show does focus primarily on its sense of humour, it does take a rather refreshing approach in how it presents itself to the audience. For instance, while the show on the surface is just Battle Boobs 2000, it does have some sneaky moments where the girls talk about their feelings towards their own bodies and how that affects them in their sport. Another thing Keijo brings to the table is a focus on sportsmanship, which was something I would never have expected from an anime like this. There's a deeper level of respect between characters, even rivals, than I thought there would be. It's less about getting revenge for a previous loss or brooding over the hierarchy within the sport, and more about building personal strength and learning technique. Keijo is therefore built more closely akin to its real-life counterparts in this regard. Counterparts meaning general sport. This isn't an actual sport. Yet. Don't get me wrong though, the show still presents itself as a shonen when it comes to fight scenes and tension, but at the end of the day it still prides itself on its respect through defeat mindset, similar to what you get with Goku and his triumphs throughout Dragon Ball. Keijo also makes a lot of references to other animes, whether it be a nod towards shows like Attack on Titan by naming one of its signature moves, Buttak on Titan, and having one of these athletes basically go Super Saiyan, along with ridiculous stunts that are not even close to being humanly possible and a cast of wacky but lovable characters. This show will take you for one hell of a ride. It's this wild sense of humour that takes what could have been a seriously creepy show and turns it into a mess of stupidity. This show also has some really clever moments with the writing, and I seriously don't think you should underestimate the team behind it. Directed by Hideya Takahashi, whose most well-known work was the 2022 reboot of Urasai Yatsura, which was highly praised during its inception. Keijo has been influenced by the inspiration sparked from their later projects, especially when you consider that they also did some episodic stuff for SAO and JoJo. It's quite clear throughout the anime that the people who created Keijo are fans of anime themselves. Also helmed by the production of Studio Xebec before its acquisition by Studio Sunrise in 2019, you can clearly see its indie appeal and love for attention to detail after doing things like Love Hina and Nadesico. And don't discredit the audio team either. Helmed by Hayato Matsuo, who's most well known for their work on Final Fantasy XII, the Dragon Quest games, and anime-wise leading the charge for Hellsing Ultimate and the Phantom Blood arc of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you can rest assured that the music and scores in this show can hold their own. So, is Keijo something you can recommend to absolutely everyone? Definitely not. You wouldn't want to walk into your company's HR department, start showing clips to the person behind the desk and have a laugh with them. I mean, you might if your HR department looks like ours, with Brad hiding behind his desk yelling at people in the comment section of the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailers about how he's going to destroy them all. But I don't think the risk is worth the reward there. However, it's certainly something that people who want to branch out in their anime tastes can enjoy, and it's certainly something that holds a very titular, pun very much intended, place in the anime community. It's also not too weird to stop your friend from ever talking to you again. Maybe. It's also a great toe dip into the weirder side of anime, without a doubt. So why not go out on a limb and take a dive onto the more obscene side? Especially if you haven't already seen it and feel like wasting a few hours of your life. Check out Keijo, streaming on Crunchyroll and Prime Video. Oh, Just a reminder, wear headphones. No, seriously, wear headphones. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like this video and leave a comment below letting us know your thoughts on Keijo. Or if you have a recommendation of something for us to deep dive next, leave that in the comments below too. Thanks again so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!